In 1982, in a small quiet town, something happened that no one could explain. One cold night, an entire orphanage, 27 children and 6 adults, vanished. No sound, no warning, no struggle. By the next morning, the big brick building was empty. Beds were still warm. Food was still on the tables. But every single person was gone. Police searched everywhere. No bodies, no broken doors, no tracks in the mud. It was like the building swallowed them whole. For 30 years, families asked the same question. Where did they go? No one had an answer. Then, in 2012, during demolition, a worker hit a wall that sounded hollow. Behind it, they found a door that had been welded shut since the 80s. When police cut it open and stepped inside, they finally learned the truth. And what was in that hidden room was far worse than anyone ever imagined. It is a cool fall evening in 1982. Inside the old brick orphanage, everything feels normal. In the dining room, the kids sit at long wooden tables. They are laughing, telling jokes, and eating dinner. Some are trading bread rolls. Others are sneaking extra pudding when the adults are not looking. The staff are tired but smiling. They know all the kids by name. One worker reminds them to hurry up because bedtime is coming soon. After dinner, the kids go to the playroom. A group of boys plays with toy cars on the floor. A few girls sit in the corner, braiding each other's hair. Older kids sit with books. The place feels safe. It feels like any other night. When the clock hits 8, one of the adults claps their hands. Time to get ready for bed. The kids groan, but they listen. They walk down the hall to the sleeping rooms. Pajamas go on. Toothbrushes scrape in the bathroom. The smallest kids crawl into their beds first. Older kids talk quietly in the dark, waiting for the lights to go out. No one in this building knows that tonight will be the last time anyone ever sees them. By the time the lights turn off, there are 27 children and 6 adults inside. And they all believe tomorrow will be just like today. It will not be. Outside, the wind starts to pick up. Big, dark clouds cover the sky. The trees around the orphanage bend and shake. The sound of the wind makes the windows rattle. Inside, the kids stay in their beds. A few of them sit up and watch the flashes of light through the window. Every time lightning strikes, the whole room glows white for a second. The storm gets louder. The rain hits the roof like rocks. One boy whispers to the kid in the next bed, "Do you think it's a tornado?" The other boy shakes his head. "No, it's just a storm. Go to sleep." In the hallway, one of the adults walks slowly from room to room, making sure the kids are safe. After the last door is closed, the hallway lights are turned off. Thunder shakes the whole building. Then, after midnight, the storm starts to calm down. Inside the orphanage, it is quiet again. But what happens next, no one in town will ever be able to explain. By morning, this building will be empty. The next morning, a neighbor walks toward the orphanage. He is used to hearing the kids outside by now. Normally, they are running around, yelling and laughing in the yard. Today, it is silent. He knocks on the front door. No one answers. He pushes the door open and steps inside. The building feels wrong. It is too quiet. There are no voices, no footsteps, no sound at all. He calls out, "Hello?" But no one answers. In the dining room, breakfast is still on the tables. Bowls of cereal and milk sit out like someone poured them only minutes ago. Upstairs, the beds are messy, like the kids just got out of them. Pajamas are on the floor, but there are no kids. No staff. It looks like everyone got up and walked away in the middle of the night. The neighbor runs to the phone and calls the police. When officers arrive, they check every room. They check the attic, the basement, the bathrooms. They check outside. In the yard, there is no one. 20-7 children and 6 adults are gone. It is like they vanished into thin air. Within minutes of the neighbor's call, police cars line the road outside the orphanage. Red and blue lights bounce off the walls as officers rush in with flashlights drawn. The first officer pushes through the front door. "Hello? Police!" His voice echoes back at him. They start on the first floor. Every hallway looks normal: chairs pushed in, doors open, shoes left neatly in a row, but there isn't a single person anywhere. Two officers head upstairs. Beds are unmade. Dolls are lying on the floor. One teddy bear is still propped up on a pillow, waiting for a child who never came back. Another team goes into the kitchen. Pans of food sit cold on the stoves. Plates and cups are stacked on the counter as if someone was about to serve breakfast. In the basement, flashlights shine over storage boxes and old furniture. There's dust on everything. It's silent. No kids. No staff. It's like time stopped in the middle of the night. After searching every corner, the lead officer radios in. The building is empty. Everyone is gone. No one understands how 33 people can just disappear. By mid-morning, more police arrive. Deputies, state troopers, and even helicopters join in. They search the yard and then spread out in all directions. Dogs sniff the ground for tracks. They go through the forest, along the river, across the empty fields. There are no footprints, no tire marks, no broken fences. It doesn't even look like anyone left the building. Helicopters circle above, scanning the roads and fields for miles. Still, there's nothing. The search teams report back, confused and scared. It's like the kids and the adults were lifted out of the building and taken somewhere no one can find. By noon, the news spreads across the small town. Parents run to the orphanage, screaming for their children. Some collapse on the ground when they see the police tape. Reporters arrive with cameras. Crowds gather outside the gates. Everyone is demanding answers, but there are none. That night, the only thing anyone can talk about is the orphanage. People lock their doors. Kids aren't allowed outside. No one knows what happened, and fear takes over the town. This is no longer just a mystery. It feels like something evil came and took everybody away. Within an hour, the orphanage is crowded with law enforcement. Police cars block the road. Deputies and detectives walk in and out with clipboards and flashlights. Inside, every room is checked. Two officers stand in the hallway, writing notes. Another group move from bedroom to bedroom, opening closets, looking under beds. The sound of radios and boots on the wooden floors echoes through the empty building. The dining room still looks like breakfast was interrupted. Food is cold on the plates. A juice glass lies on its side, spilled across the table. In the playroom, toys are scattered where the kids left them. A game of checkers sits in the middle of a turn. Downstairs, a group searches the storage rooms. They pull open every door. Dust fills the air. There are no signs of a fight. No blood. No broken windows. The building gives them nothing. One detective finally says, "It's like they just walked away." By the time night falls, there is still no trace of 33 people. The building is sealed off with yellow tape. Guards stand outside. Whatever happened here is now treated as a major crime. The next morning, search teams arrive. Police dogs, trained to follow human scent, are brought in first. Handlers lead them through every hallway, then out into the yard. The dogs pick up a scent near the building, but lose it almost instantly, as if it just ends. Soon, the search expands. Officers and volunteers spread out across fields, through the woods, and along the river. They mark the ground with flags. Helicopters circle above. From the air, crews look for anything unusual: broken trees, tracks in the dirt, anything. There is nothing. Back on the ground, the teams use ropes and poles to check deep ditches and ponds. Still nothing. After hours, one of the lead officers says to the others, "How can 33 people disappear and leave no sign, not even a footprint. The search goes late into the night. The next day, they start again. But after 2 full days, the results are the same. No bodies, no bodies. Not a single piece of evidence. It feels like everyone inside the building was lifted up and carried away. When the case hits the state police, they call the FBI. Within days, federal agents arrive in dark cars. These agents bring tools and experience that the local police don't have. They set up a command post inside the town hall. Maps cover the walls. They review every detail of the case. Agents walk door to door, talking to neighbors. They ask if anyone saw a stranger in the area. Did anyone hear trucks or buses? Did anyone notice a group moving at night? Every answer is the same. Nothing. They also check records, phone logs, bank accounts, old complaints against the orphanage. They look at everything. Weeks pass. Agents run out of leads. Finally, one agent tells the sheriff, if this was a kidnapping, it was the biggest, quietest one I've ever seen. With no answers from the police, the town begins to make up its own stories. A few people say they saw strange lights around the orphanage the night before the people vanished. They describe a white glow floating low in the sky. Others say they heard a loud humming sound, like a machine. Some believe it was aliens. Others think it was ghosts. Old stories about the building start to spread again. They say the place was cursed from the very beginning. By the end of the summer, people are scared to even drive past the orphanage. Parents hold their kids close. Teachers stop talking about the missing children because it makes the younger ones cry. For the families who lost someone, the rumors only make it worse. They don't care about lights or ghosts. They just want to know where their children went. Agents and detectives gather around a long table covered with maps and photographs. The question everyone keeps asking is the same. How do 33 people disappear from a locked building without a sound? One detective suggests that maybe a group of kidnappers came in the night. But the FBI pushes back. There are no tracks, no broken doors, no signs of a fight. No one saw a bus or truck. Another theory is that the children and adults walked out on their own. But why would they? And where would they go in the middle of a storm? The theories get stranger. Could it be some kind of gas leak? Could everyone have gotten sick and wandered off? Nothing matches the evidence. Every explanation dies before it can be proven. By late summer, the frustration is obvious. Every lead has ended with nothing. One agent finally says out loud what everyone is thinking. If this was a crime, it was done by someone smarter and faster than we've ever seen. And if it wasn't a crime, then what was it? That question is the only thing left on the board. As the case drags on with no answers, the media explodes. Pictures of the missing kids are on every newspaper, every TV station. Headlines read, "Orphanage mystery deepens and 33 vanish without a trace." Reporters come from other states to stand outside the gates. Cameras show the empty building night after night. Parents everywhere start locking doors, pulling their kids out of camp, and even moving away. People whisper about the case in grocery stores and church parking lots. The little town changes overnight. It no longer feels safe. People stop going out after dark. Everyone suspects everyone else. And inside the homes of the families who lost someone, the pain never stops. They have no one to blame. They just have silence. By early 1983, the search has covered miles of woods, fields, and rivers. Still nothing. With no new leads, teams start to leave one by one. Helicopters stop flying. The command center is packed up. The orphanage is locked. Its windows are boarded up. Only wind and dust move through its halls now. The files from the case are boxed and sent to storage. Reporters stop coming. The world moves on, but not everyone lets go. A few parents stay, driving past the building every week. waiting for a clue. Months turn into years, and still there is nothing. The mystery of those 33 people becomes just a story people tell, and the building sits there, silent, holding its secret. It is now 2012. 30 years have passed. The orphanage still stands, but it looks nothing like it did in 1982. The roof sags in the middle. Almost every window is broken. The wooden doors are swollen from years of rain. Green vines crawl up the brick walls like ropes. Inside, the floors are covered with dust and trash. Old furniture lies smashed in the corners. Graffiti covers the walls. For years, storms, snow, and heat have beaten this place down. Yet, no one has ever tried to fix it. People just leave it alone. Even after all this time, there is a strange feeling here. The missing kids and adults are now only pictures in old newspapers. Most of the families have moved away. The town has grown quiet about it. But when you drive past the building, you can still feel something. It is like the whole place is stuck in that one night in 1982. Everything inside. The building has been forgotten, but the building itself has never been able to let go. And in 2012, for the first time in 30 years, someone is finally going to open the doors. People in town avoid the orphanage. Most drive faster when they get close to it. The kids who live nearby tell stories about it. They dare each other to walk up to the front steps. A few brave ones get close enough to touch the door, but they never go inside. Parents warn them not to. Everyone says the building is cursed. Sometimes strangers pull over on the road to take pictures. They stand there for a minute, looking at the empty windows. Then they leave. The older people in town do not even look at it anymore. For them, it is not just an empty building. It is a wound. The years have not made the pain go away. And when a for sale sign finally goes up in 2012, the whole town is surprised. Someone wants the property. The company that buys the land has one plan: tear it down. The building is too old and too broken to save. The company wants to clear everything and build new apartments. One cold morning, trucks and machines roll onto the property. For the first time in 30 years, people walk through the front doors. The workers step inside. It is silent. The smell of mold and dust fills the air. With hard hats and gloves on, they start to check the rooms. They make notes about what to knock down first. For a week, the crew gets used to the place. They pull out trash and move broken furniture. Town watches them from a distance. No one talks about what happened here anymore, but everyone is thinking about it. To them, this building is more than wood and brick. It is where 33 people went missing and were never found. The workers don't know it yet, but by opening this building, they are about to uncover something that has been hidden since 1982, something no one expected. And once they find it, the whole mystery will come alive again. At first, the work seems normal. Crews pull out old wood, strip down rotten walls, and clear trash. But soon, people begin to notice strange things. One man says he feels a rush of cold air every time he walks past a hallway that has no open windows. Another swears he hears faint noises, like whispering, coming from the empty rooms. A tool bag goes missing one afternoon. Everyone looks for it for an hour. The next day, it is found sitting in the middle of a room no one had been in. Little by little, the workers stop laughing. Some begin to keep close to each other. One night, after the sun goes down, a heavy door slams on its own. The sound echoes through the building. The next morning, 2 of the crew refuse to come back. Soon, the talk around town spreads. People say the building doesn't want to be touched, but the company keeps working. They have a job to do. And on the 7th day of demolition, a swing of a hammer hits something no one expected. It happens in a back hallway on the 1st floor. A worker swings his sledgehammer at an old brick wall. Instead of the solid thud he is used to, this time the wall makes a hollow sound. He stops. He looks at the other workers. Did you hear that? They all step closer. He hits the same spot again. Hollow. The supervisor tells everyone to stop. The other workers clear the hallway. Carefully, they begin pulling away pieces of the wall. Behind the bricks, there is a hidden space that no one can see inside yet. But the air that comes out is stale, like it hasn't moved in years. The opening is only big enough to show a flat piece of metal. It looks like the back of some kind of door. The foreman calls the police. The job site is shut down. By the time the officers arrive, everyone is standing in silence, staring at the strange metal hidden inside the wall. Whatever is behind that wall has been locked away for 30 years. Police arrive and shine their flashlights into the hole. What they see is a solid steel door. The entire door has been welded shut around the edges. Thick lines of metal seal it in place, like someone wanted to make sure it would never be opened. The officers order the crew to back away. They put tape across the hall and start taking pictures. One officer runs his hand over the cold steel. This wasn't part of the original building, he says. The company's foreman looks nervous. Do you want us to open it? The officer shakes his head. Not yet. This is a crime scene now. For the first time in 30 years, the police are back inside the orphanage. Whatever is behind that steel door will finally be seen. The next morning, the police bring in a special team. They set up bright lights in the hallway. 2 men put on heavy gloves and face shields. A torch sparks to life. They press it against the welded edge of the steel door. Metal begins to melt. The sound is so loud that it echoes through the whole building. Piece by piece, they cut away the thick lines of weld. The smell of burning metal fills the air. Other officers stand back, watching. Nobody talks. All you can hear is the hiss of the torch and the clanging of tools. Finally, after more than an hour, they attach chains and pull. The heavy steel groans. With one last screech, the door breaks free and falls forward onto the floor with a crash. Behind the door, there is nothing but a black opening. No one moves. It is not a room. It is a stairwell going straight down. Everyone just stares at it. The building has been silent for 30 years. And now, whatever is hiding below is about to be seen for the first time. The police turn on flashlights and shine them into the stairwell. A wave of hot, stale air rushes out. It smells old, like something trapped for a very long time. One officer pulls his shirt over his face. Another says quietly, "It goes down a long way." Slowly, they start down the steps. The stairs are narrow and made of concrete. Dust rises with every step. The beams from their flashlights cut through the darkness. Halfway down, they stop to listen. No sound, only the scrape of their boots and their own breathing. The air gets heavier as they go lower. Finally, the stairwell opens into a hallway. The walls are made of thick concrete blocks. There are no windows. No sign that anyone has been down here in decades. At the end of the hallway is another door. It is not locked. The lead officer reaches out. His hand is shaking. He pushes the door open. The hinges scream. The smell gets worse. Flashlight beams swing into the black room. Beyond, what they see makes them freeze. The room is huge and silent. Their flashlights show rows of small metal beds pressed up against the walls. The beds are rusted. The thin mattresses have almost turned to dust. In the middle of the room are piles of old wooden chairs and broken tables. A few toys lie on the ground. A stuffed rabbit. A ball with faded colors. It looks like time stopped 30 years ago. No one speaks as they walk slowly inside. Every step kicks up more dust. On one wall, there is a row of tiny lockers. Some are open. Inside are small shoes and clothes so old they crumble when touched. An officer kneels down and picks up a notebook. The pages fall apart in his hands. In the far corner, The beam of a flashlight hits something else. A chain. It hangs from the wall. The officer follows the chain with his light. There are more of them. Several chains bolted into the concrete. This is not just a storage room. This is a place where people were kept. As the team moves deeper into the room, the smell gets even stronger. And in the very back, they finally see where it is coming from. The officers move farther into the hidden room, their flashlights sweeping across the floor. Everywhere they look, there are pieces of the past. Near the beds are piles of small shoes, some so tiny they must have belonged to the youngest kids. There are dolls with missing arms, board games with pieces scattered, and notebooks stacked in uneven piles. An officer kneels and picks up one of the notebooks. On the first page, in a child's handwriting, are crooked letters and drawings. The paper crumbles as soon as he turns it. In another corner, they see clothes, folded like someone left them there, planning to come back. There are jackets and pajamas, all covered in dust. The deeper they go, the more it feels like nothing in this room has been touched since 1982. Every item is a reminder that children lived here, played here, and then disappeared. One officer whispers. It's like a time capsule. Nobody answers. No one wants to break the silence. The team knows this is no storage area. This room held people, and they are about to find out what happened to them. At the far end of the room, an officer stops. His flashlight has caught something on the ground. Over here, he says. Everyone gathers around and shines their lights, lying. In the dust are bones. At first, just a few. Then, as they look closer, they see more. There are dozens of skeletons. Some are so small they could only belong to children. Others are clearly adults. The bones are pale, dry, and mixed in with scraps of fabric. One officer covers his mouth. Another has to look away. These remains have been here for decades, sealed behind that steel door, never found until now. The lead officer calls it in over the radio. His voice shakes as he speaks. The camera crews will not be allowed down here. But soon the whole country will know what is inside this room. The search that began 30 years ago has finally found its answer. The missing children and adults from 1982 never left the building. They have been here the entire time. And now, the officers realize something even worse. This was not an accident. The team searches every inch of the underground space. They check for doors, vents, or hidden tunnels. There are none. The walls are solid concrete on all sides. The only way in or out of this room is the stairwell they came through. The steel door, welded shut for 30 years, was the last barrier. The truth becomes painfully clear. Whoever locked everyone inside made sure there was no escape. The people inside must have screamed and pounded on the walls, but no one could hear them. One officer whispers, "They were trapped down here the whole time." Another adds, "And no one knew." It is a hard fact to accept. 33 lives ended in this hidden place, just a few feet below where everyone had been searching all those years ago. Along the back wall, flashlights show thick metal chains bolted deep into the concrete. There are several of them, spaced out evenly. Each chain is long enough to hold a wrist or an ankle. The officers just stand and stare. This was not a hiding place. This was a trap. The chains leave no doubt. The people in this room were locked in on purpose. One officer says quietly, "Someone wanted them here. Someone wanted them to stay until they died." No one speaks after that. The team knows this discovery will change everything. Within hours of finding the hidden room, the police reopen the case. Old boxes are brought out of storage. The tables at the station are covered with dusty files, photographs, and notebooks that have not been touched in 30 years. Detectives compare the new discovery with the old evidence. They go through maps of the orphanage from 1982. None of those maps show the hidden, Staircase. One officer spreads out pictures from the old crime scene next to the new photos from the underground room. Everything is starting to make sense, but only in pieces. They also look at the list of people who worked at the orphanage in 1982. Almost everyone has moved away or died. The case that had been cold for decades is now alive again. Detectives know they need to find out why someone would build a secret basement and lock everyone inside. And all of the clues seem to point to one person, the man who ran the orphanage. The files revealed that in 1982, the orphanage director was in serious trouble. State inspectors had been watching him for months. Reports said the children were living in bad conditions. There were complaints about abuse and neglect. And money that was meant for food and supplies had gone missing in the months before the disappearance. State officials warned the director that the orphanage would soon be shut down. If that happened, the kids would be removed and sent to other homes. The files also show that the director had grown angry about this. He believed the state was trying to ruin his life. Several letters from the state to the director were found in the old boxes. The last letter, dated just weeks before everyone vanished, said that inspectors were coming again, and this time they would take action. Detectives now believe this was the breaking point. The director felt cornered. In 1982, he had been in charge of everything: the building, the children, the staff, and when he realized the power was about to be taken away from him, he may have decided to do something no one would ever imagine. Detectives tracked down the few staff members who were still alive. Some refused to talk. Others agreed to sit down with investigators. Over several interviews, a dark picture begins to form. The former workers described the director as paranoid and angry in the months before the disappearance. He stopped trusting anyone. They say he had begun punishing kids by locking them in the basement for hours or even days at a time. He believed it taught them discipline. As time went on, he started making strange decisions. Doors that used to be open were locked at night. Windows were nailed shut. Staff were told not to speak to outsiders about what was happening inside the orphanage. One former worker says that by the last month, the director barely let anyone outside. Everything changed, she says. He said the state was going to come and take the children. He said if that happened, we would lose everything. The detectives realized the staff had been afraid of him too. They now know the hidden basement wasn't just a storage space. It was a tool the director used to control the children. Detectives find two key witnesses who were teenagers at the time. Both had left the orphanage shortly before the night everyone vanished. They described the same thing on that final night. In 1982, the director was frantic. He told everyone that inspectors were coming the next day to take the children away. He ordered all of the children and staff to go downstairs. Some of the staff argued, but he yelled at them until they obeyed. One witness remembers standing at the top of the stairs, watching everyone go down. The director locked the door behind them. That witness ran out of the building and never came back. The other witness says the director planned to hide everyone until the state left. Those were the last moments anyone saw of the 33 people who vanished. The detectives now have a picture of what happened. But the full truth is even worse. From the new interviews, the files, and what they found on the ground. Investigators now believe they know what happened that night. The director ordered every single child and every adult into the basement. Some of the older kids didn't want to go, but he forced them. Staff who questioned him were threatened and told to follow his orders. The hidden door at the bottom of the hallway had been built for this moment. Once everyone was inside, he closed it. Then he welded it shut from the outside. The police think he believed this would hide them from the state inspectors who were coming the next day. He thought that if the building looked empty, the state would leave and he could open the door again later. But for some reason, he never opened it. After sealing the room, the director left the orphanage. Sometime that same night, he took his own life in another part of town. And so, 33 people were left behind a steel wall with no way out. That one act turned the basement into a prison, and no one outside the building even knew they were there. Forensic experts examine every inch of the hidden room. What they find is heartbreaking. The walls are covered with scratches. Some marks are deep and ragged, like people used their fingernails until they bled. The floor shows areas where they tried to break through the concrete with whatever they could find. Pieces of wood, broken bed frames, and even the metal chains were used as tools. The investigators also find torn clothes and shoes in piles near the door. These are signs of panic, of people trying anything they could to get out. Experts say there is proof they were alive for days. Empty food containers and spilled water bottles are scattered in the corner. But with no way to leave, those supplies ran out fast. The room was sealed so tightly that even air became scarce. The smell of the old room tells the rest of the story. Every single person trapped in that basement fought to stay alive, but no one outside ever heard them. The soundproof walls and the storm that night made sure of that. And slowly, hour by hour, their strength ran out. No rescue came. No one even knew they were there. Days passed. They had no food left, no clean air, and no hope. The investigators realized this was not just a tragedy. It was a death sentence. When the director welded that door shut, he sealed their fate. By the time the police came to the orphanage the next morning in 1982, the 33 people were already trapped underground, waiting for someone who never came. The records show that when his body was found in town a few hours later, no one connected him to the vanishing. The police searched everywhere except the one place they should have looked. Behind a wall in the basement. It took 30 years to finally find it. For the families who have waited decades for answers, the truth is worse than they ever imagined. That basement wasn't a shelter. It was a tomb. Within hours of the discovery, the story explodes across the country. News vans line the small streets around the orphanage. Satellite dishes rise above the houses. Reporters stand in front of cameras as they talk about what police have found underground. Headlines flash on every TV screen. Hidden room found under orphanage, and bodies of missing children, and staff recovered after 30 years. Crowds form at the edge of the police tape. Some people cry. Others just stand and stare at the building that has been locked for so long. Helicopters circle overhead. News anchors say the same thing over and over. After 30 years, the mystery of the vanished orphanage children has finally been solved. People all across the country are watching. Social media fills with pictures of the steel door, the chains, and the old beds. For most viewers, it feels unreal. But for the town, it is real. Very real. The place they had been avoiding for decades is now the center of everything. And soon, the hardest part will come. Telling the families exactly what happened to their loved ones that night. Inside the police station, a conference room is filled with parents, brothers, and sisters of the missing. Some are old now. Some were just kids when their brothers or sisters disappeared. Detectives stand at the front of the room. One by one, they explain what they found. They tell them about the hidden stairwell, the welded door, and the room underground. They tell them about the bones. No one speaks at first. The room is silent except for quiet sobbing. Then the questions start. Why didn't you find this sooner? Why didn't anyone open that wall? Did they suffer? Detectives answer as best as they can. Some people cry so hard they can't stay in their chairs. Others are too angry to sit still. After 30 years of hoping, the families finally have an answer. But the answer is worse than anything they had ever imagined. Some of them leave the room without saying a word. Others stay, holding each other. The police cannot undo what happened. All they can do is tell the truth. Investigators also give the families one final piece of the story. The man who caused this, the director of the orphanage, did not escape. On the same night he locked everyone in the basement, he left the building. Hours later, he was found dead in a shed on the other side of town. At the time, his death was ruled a suicide. No one connected it to the disappearance at the orphanage. For 30 years, his body lay buried in the town cemetery. His grave has been there the whole time. While everyone searched for answers, police now know that after he locked the door, he chose to end his own life instead of facing the inspectors. This single decision left 33 people trapped with no way out. The case that confused investigators for decades finally has a name and a face. But the truth brings no comfort. In the days after the truth comes out, the old orphanage changes. For 30 years, it was a silent, rotting building. Now, it becomes a place where people gather. Families, neighbors, and strangers come to the front steps carrying flowers. They leave pictures of the missing children. They leave teddy bears, balloons, and candles. Soon the entrance is covered with colors. Every step is filled with notes that say things like, "We never forgot you," and "You're home now." Some people stand quietly, just staring at the building. Others cry openly, hugging each other. At night, candles burn on the steps. The glow can be seen from far down the street. For the first time in 30 years, the orphanage is not empty. It is no longer just an abandoned shell. It is a place of mourning. It is a place to remember the 33 lives that ended in that hidden basement. People promise that the building will not be torn down until every family has had a chance to say goodbye. This building that once held only pain is now covered in love and memory. News crews from across the country come to town. Every day, cameras stand across the street, showing the steps of the orphanage. Former staff, old classmates, and people who once lived nearby return to the building. They stand with the families and talk quietly about the children who never came home. Some share old pictures with reporters. Others walk away from the cameras, not wanting to speak at all. The small town is crowded like never before. For weeks, the orphanage is the center of attention. But for those who live here, this is not about news. It is about facing a truth they had avoided for 30 years. The truth leaves a scar on the town. Everyone now knows that, for 30 years, the answers were hidden behind a single wall, while police searched the woods, the roads, and every house. The victims were trapped in a basement, just a few steps away. That fact breaks something inside the community. Neighbors talk about how they used to walk past the building every single day. Some admit they thought about breaking in but never did. Now they wonder if someone might have been saved if they had. Trust in the system is gone. People here no longer believe that authorities always know best. The town will never look at the old building the same way again. For decades, it was a place everyone avoided. Now, it is a reminder that a terrible secret can hide in plain sight. This tragedy will be remembered forever. After the discovery, crime scene teams return to the hidden basement. The room is silent again, but this time it is filled with people in white suits and masks. They move slowly, careful not to disturb anything. Every small item on the floor is important. They pick up rusted toys, old notebooks, shoes, and broken furniture. Each piece is placed in a clear bag, labeled, and carried out. A stuffed rabbit is lifted from the dirt. Its ears are torn, but it still has a small pink ribbon on its neck. An officer finds a notebook with pages stuck together. He doesn't open it. He just slips it into a bag. The team knows these things are the last pieces of the lives that were trapped here. Everything is photographed. The chains, the beds, the scratched floor. They collect it all, knowing it may help tell the story of what happened in this room during those final days. As they work, no one talks. Only the sound of camera shutters and plastic bags can be heard. This place, untouched for 30 years, is finally giving up its secrets. One team member shines a bright flashlight along the concrete walls. At first, the walls look blank. Then they notice marks, names, dozens of them. Some are scratched with sharp objects. Others are carved so deep that pieces of concrete flake away. There are dates, numbers counting days, and short, desperate messages. Help us. Let us out. I want to go home. Next to some of these messages are small handprints, pressed into the dust long ago. The scratches show how hard people tried to leave something behind. Some lines are smooth. Others are ragged, as if made with broken nails when nothing else was. One wall has a drawing of a sun made by a child. Under it are two stick figures holding hands. The investigators stop to look. Even after 30 years, these scratches tell exactly how scared everyone was. Every wall holds another name, another message. And all of it is proof that they never stopped hoping someone would find them. Near the corner of the room, an investigator finds a small pile of belongings that had been pushed together. Inside, under old clothes and a notebook, is a folded piece of paper. The paper is yellow and fragile. When they open it, the handwriting is shaky but clear. It says, "If someone finds this, please tell my mom I love her. We are scared." The door is locked. We can't breathe. At the bottom is a name. It belongs to a boy who was 12 years old in 1982. The room goes silent as the letter is read out loud. For all these years, the boy's words were trapped with him, waiting for someone to find them. The paper is carefully placed inside a plastic bag. This letter is more than evidence. It is the last voice of a child who tried, even at the very end, to reach his mother. When the team carries it upstairs, every person in that hallway stops and watches. The truth of what happened in this hidden room is no longer just bones and broken furniture. Now it has a voice. Weeks later, the town gathers in front of the orphanage. The building has been cleaned, but the broken windows and peeling paint remain. This is where they choose to hold the memorial. Rows of candles cover the steps. Each candle has a framed photo beside it. Some pictures are of children smiling in school clothes. Others show the adults who worked there. People fill the street, standing shoulder to shoulder. Reporters keep their cameras back. This moment belongs to the families. On a small stage, the mayor speaks first. She thanks the investigators for finally bringing the truth out. She says, "The town will never forget." Then a police officer steps forward. He explains that today is about the 33 people who were lost that night in 1982. He says their names will be read so that no one ever forgets them again. The crowd is quiet. Even the wind stops. Parents stand close together, holding hands. Many hold pictures of their loved ones. This day has been waited for 3 long decades. And now, for the first time, everyone is here to hear those names out loud. A list is handed to the officer. He begins to read. The first name echoes through the microphone. A woman in the front row breaks down. Her hands cover her face as family members hold her. One by one, the names of all 33 victims are read. Every name brings a new wave of emotion. Some parents close their eyes, whispering the names with the officer. Others just stand, tears streaming down their faces. When the names of the children are spoken, their siblings cry openly. For years, these families never got to say goodbye. Now, they finally can. The crowd listens to the last name. When it is done, the officer lowers his head. For a moment, there is no sound at all. Only the quiet flicker of the candles on the steps. This silence says more than any speech ever could. The scene shifts. The camera moves down into the hidden basement one last time. There are no officers now. No lights, just the room. The chains hang from the walls. The small beds are still lined up, covered in dust. On the wall, the drawings and names are still there. The words scratched by children and staff are untouched. The camera slowly pans across the room. It shows the chairs, the broken toys, and the marks where they fought to escape. Then the camera stops on the steel door, now open. For the first time in 30 years, the truth is no longer hidden. This basement is no longer just a mystery. It is the final proof of what happened to 33 people who vanished in 1982. The screen fades to black, and in the silence, a single line of text appears. For the 33 souls who were lost, and for the families who never stopped searching.